Told in history was when she said, that's what Sean Carter done to me. Hey, she dropped that line that shook the whole room. Jack rose up like boom, 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 boom. Receipts rolled in, comments went insane. Everybody knew Jackie was playing games. But when the truth hit back and the heat got near, she said it wasn't me. Blame the any idea. She screamed for the world to see.
That's what Sean Carter done to me.
She lied to me. She lied to you.
Yeah. And we got the proof.
She tried to twist the story.
Rewrite history.
Set the box to find her on the line to screen. I wanna burn that fantasy that said, Jackie girl, take accountability. No glitch, no code, no digital ghost, just Jackie talking wild, doing the most. Step down talking, she held the world in her hands. Took the story in the fire, hoping everybody take a stand. But don't stand when the truth starts pushing through. In the moment, pressure found her. She was looking for a different truth. Said the tune was in her voice. Said the wise got caught somehow.
Blame the ghost in the algorithm. When the black and she said,
That's what you're done to me. Till the truth pulled out. Hey, and she changed her key. She had everyone lost. Hey, in that last scream. When she said on the JT, but it was Trevor Green. But the real question is,
who the hell is Trevor Green?
yeah, she flipped the script when the stakes got steep, and the biggest lie Jackie would ever see is when she said, that's what Sean Carter done to me. We saw what we seen. You got caught in your lie. That wasn't AI, and it damn sure wasn't Trevor Green. The biggest lie she would ever speak is when she said, that's what Sean Carter done to me.
I just like that so much. The way he put that together is just so tough. Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. We'll get into some other stuff later. Right now, I want to talk about DNA and RNA, right? A lot of people might not know this, but it's deep. It's deep, right? And this is where a lot of your trials and tribulations come in. This is where a lot of your, ancestral timeline comes in, spiritual essence comes in, so on and so forth. So we're going to get into this a little bit. We're going to discuss it a little bit. Chemicals of life, 144 chromosomes, where the RNA that's in your DNA comes from, missing chromosomes, chemicals of life run human DNA, so on and so forth. So we're going to get into the chemicals of life, the DNA, proteins, and the DNA, RNA, and proteins. All right. We're going to get into all of that, speak a little bit about that. I will be using Service AI to read some of this stuff because it's a lot of stuff to read, and I don't want to be fumbling with my words and stuff like that. So I'll get the AI to read some of it and I'll discuss a lot of it. What's going on with you? Let's get this first part out the way. This I think it's important for a lot of women to know this stuff.
Current mainstream science defines DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, as the hereditary material in humans and almost all other organisms. Nearly every cell in a person's body has the same DNA. DNA is a molecule that encodes the genetic instructions used in the development and functioning of all known living organisms and many viruses. DNA is a nucleic acid. Alongside proteins and carbohydrates, nucleic acids compose the three major macromolecules essential for all known forms of life. 1. However, the Emerald Guardians inform us that the original human DNA imprint is referred to as the silicate matrix, and is a 12-strand diamond sun DNA template. Since the Luciferian Rebellion, humanity's DNA was unplugged and higher functioning DNA was lost.
You see, it's telling you right there that higher functions of our DNA was lost. That's telling you that during the Luciferian, whatever you want to call it, rebellion, that a lot of parts of our DNA was lost. This is why we only use 23 chromosomes, how to break down the chromosomes or manipulate the chromosomes to be dormant, not active. This is what they structured us off of. And this is how we built the vessel. We stopped using 12 strands of DNA, started using 3 of the 12 strands. And out of the 3 of the 12 strands, we're only using 23 chromosomes of those 3. Now, each strand of DNA has about 23, or no, I'm sorry, 12 within 12, which makes 144. So we'll break it down like this, and it'll explain it to you a little bit more. The 12 strands of DNA. Let's go into the missing chromosomes. Let's jump down here real quick. I want to tell you about the missing chromosomes, right? And this is something that is passed. It says, father gets their mitochondria genes from their mother and do not pass them to the children. So the gene that is attached to spirituality, so on and so forth, this is something that comes from the mother. But during manipulation of trials and tribulations or other variations of things, some of this lies dormant. Now, we're going to break this down. It's going to explain to you the 12 strands and why we only use 23. So take a listen right quick.
Missing chromosomes. On the Earth, human chromosomes have been tampered with as a result of alien hybridization and genetic modification, and thus, humanity is missing a large amount of chromosomal material at multiple layers of the DNA molecule or strings. We should have 12 chromosomes per DNA strand, and the original human 12-strand DNA silicate matrix has a total of 144 chromosomes. Currently, with an average of 3 active DNA strands for the majority of the Earth population, humans should actually have 36 functioning chromosomes, yet we only have 23 that are active. Chromo means color, so when we begin to ponder the color wave spectrum that makes up the dimensional reality layers, this may give us a clue to the chromosomal distortions that are related to the visible light or chakra wave distortions that are directly impacting the chromosomal functions. If the NAA use artificial technology to eliminate a certain color sound tone from running in the planetary field, they can potentially eliminate the chromosomal and ray color record and its imprint that should be actively held within the human DNA molecule. Most of our genes are stored in our chromosomes, which sit in each cell's headquarters or the nucleus. We also have some genes in small structures in the cell called mitochondria, which hold an active potential for igniting the crystal gene. Mitochondria are sometimes called the power plants of the cell because they work on molecules to make them ready to give us the energy that we need for all of our bodily functions. The mitochondrial genes always pass from the mother to the child. Fathers get their mitochondrial genes from their mothers and do not pass them to their children. 4.
You see that? Yeah, that's telling you how important mothers are right there. That's telling you that you guys are very important because the RN cannot pass through the father. So when it comes to mitochondria on the father, we're not passing that. So a lot of people are, not even understanding that, how a woman's mind is and how much ease you put them at. A lot of this stuff is a transfer to the baby. A lot of the DNA transfer is to the baby, right? We'll get into the checkerboard mutation. This is why you see like different variations of Baphomet or Allison Crowley members. You see them use that checkerboard as a symbol. These are the ones who have a deeper understanding for what's going on. They know that this knowledge is being, taken out. Some of them are, oblivious to it and don't know and just signed up based off of ignorance. Some of them know and they're still allowing different variations of things to take place to manipulate the genetic codes of our DNA in order to keep our conscious level low so our kundalini energy won't rise within our vessel. It stays coiled at the base of your spine. This is known as the Nile River that runs up the spinal cord, and they stopped that. They figured out a way to stop that river from running up the spinal cord to reach the Garden of Eden. They wrote many books about it. They manipulated different variations of colors that's coming in through the sun. They blocked off certain colors that's coming in through the sun. And when I say blocked it off, I mean they found a way to make the body reflect instead of absorbing some lights from the sun. So whereas though we are supposed to be taking in all the colors of the spectrum of the sun, we are not. So this is where chromo comes in. Chromo means color, right? Chromo is the colors that are coming in from the light spectrum, so on and so forth. They are manipulating our DNA or changing our DNA. So when you talk about solar flares, you might want to look up a book. I think it's called Solar Synthesis, which is a photosynthesis of the body or of the flesh. I think it's a book out called Photosynthesis of the Flesh, which talks about solar synthesis and what we're going through right now. A lot of people might not speak about this. A lot of people might not be telling you about this, but this is happening right now. Ether is being pushed back into this world. A lot of people are getting their self aligned. For the ones who are not getting their self aligned, you can see their variations of crash outs. You can see their variations of how they're acting, right? Now, this tells you DNA unplugged, memory erased. Now you can see right here in this picture, it's showing you junk DNA. The junk DNA is what they're putting in there, right? And they're erasing all of these other pieces of your DNA, which comes with memory gaps. You might not remember previous lives, previous selves, previous journeys. DNA damage began 5,500 years ago when Babylon Sumeria invasion erased DNA race memory at Stonehenge, except for chosen ones, reptilians. Distorted holographic tree of life took out 8D and 12D. This is the 8 dimension, 12 dimension. This is so they block life force and Kundalini natural flow. Glands, pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, thyroid, shortened lifespan and damage immunity set up for recycling to astro 4D, scrambled geometric codes and more fields blocked multidimensional perception. rewrote human history from 5,500 years at time of invasion. And you guys can tell me if any of this sounds familiar with the concept of life, that you are familiar with the history of life, if you're familiar with certain variations of history. If you're reading this or hearing me read this, then some of these things should stick out. You should be like, damn, they did take knowledge out the world. They did have a fight for Alexandria, where they took certain variations of books out of the circulations, right? Anyone who knew about the Kundalini is no longer around, or the information about Kundalini rising or Kundalini energy is gone, right? So if you know like these different variations of things, then you can see like this taking place. You can be like, oh, okay, this is something that I see in the world taking place, right? They have an agenda to enslave mankind in order to keep the operation going how they want. And that agenda does not include knowledge. It does not include wisdom. It does not include unlocking different variations of codes with inside the vessels, fire letters, fire codes. Our DNA is responding to the sun, and we don't even know that our DNA is responding to the sun. And that's the craziest thing to me, is the not knowing that our DNA is responding to the sun, even though we are supposed to know this and we should have this variation of knowledge put back into circulation. They are blocking this variation of knowledge from being put back into circulation. They even have like agents out there, if you would say, and we might look at them as, agents of chaos, but these agents of chaos, they serve an agenda. They're just making themselves look chaotic. They're making themselves look this way or that way, but in actuality, they are actually set out here to attack conspiracy theories. They are set out here to attack anyone who's speaking of conspiracy theories or a form of it. If you're talking about chakra systems, alignment, stuff like that, you're probably going through different variations of social attacks. You're probably going through different variations of personas that are attacking, the knowledge that you're putting out there. I encourage you to keep on putting the knowledge out there. They have these false prophets in set, they have these false prophets in groups, they're trying to make Christian Rock to be a false prophet. They're trying to make Jaguar Wright to be a false prophet. They're trying to make these people who you think is prophesying or telling you about this or that, they're getting informed on this. They're getting informed on that. They're told to put this out there. They're trying to reshape history, rewrite it, all of that stuff. Grand Rising, Sandra, appreciate you for stopping in. You're actually the first to type something in the comment section. I'm guessing everyone else is scared to type something in the comment section due to the fact of levels of attack going on my page. Apparently, if you put something in the comment section, Snoopy, Danny Robinson, or somebody else might do a live about you, because they know that they can't attack me. They know they can't stop me from doing what I'm doing. So they want to stop the supporters. They want to stop support. They want to stop people from, seeing me as a genuine person, not saying everything I ever done was perfect, not saying that I didn't make mistakes on this, human experience, but they want to undermine everything that I have going on in order to try to stop supporters from supporting me, stop people from being in the chat, stop the level of activity over here. And I guess it's working to a certain extent. A lot of you guys are falling for the trickery, the fuckery. And this is why I said, like, me sitting over there combating in a group that I know is not for unification. They're not for anything but negative and low vibration. Yeah, people might have invited us to this panel or that panel, but why would we go be a part of a panel that's nothing but mess, nothing but, cursing each other out, be this, be that, we have to learn to protect our ears, not putting ourselves in these spaces. I wanna reach out. I want to try to help our people. But as you can see how difficult it is just to try to help our people, you can see how tough it is just to sit in the paint and take attacks for different different variations of people. You can see the difficult levels in it. Like I said, I never set out to try to, do that whole back and forth bull crap that they like doing. That's for them. Let them have it. They're not good at it. They're not good at it at all, but let them have it. I see the setups. I see the whole fake friend thing. Try to act like they cool with me, smiling in my face. Oh, come on over to my panel. When the whole time, coming over to their panel is a setup because they already got, and think about it. If it was mutual, they would have contacted me, yesterday, over the weekend or something and said, hey, I'm doing a panel Monday. You want to be a part of it? No, they try to, catch you at the last minute while they're doing the panel and try to be like, oh, I got this going on. Come on up. Like, nobody's doing that. I know, like, that's the only reason why they make it a pop-up like that, is so that way, you fall victim to the trap. You're unprepared for it. You don't know who's going to be on the panel. They play it off like they don't know who's going to pop up. Anybody can pop up, they say, knowing dang on well they already have you set up to walk into a certain group, or, and mind you, they're not going to let you get a word in. They're not going to let you say anything. It's not going to be no dialect. It's not going to be a conversation where you actually get to get your point across. None of that. These people are going to, literally talk over you, yell over you, tell you to shut up, try to get you to operate in some form of low vibration. And then when it's all said and done, the host is going to say, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Right? So that's why you got to be cautious of what spaces you put yourself in. Be cautious of who you try to befriend. I know these people don't like me. I know that these people don't like me. I know that the game is being played. I'm not here to please anybody, to sit next to anybody. So the one thing that they're going to do is try to make it seem like you're chasing clout, trying to make it seem like this. You've seen that we already fell for that, trying to, give people the benefit of the doubt, whatever the case may be. You've seen we already opened that door. We literally, from Sherelle's panel to this panel to that panel, we went around, but these people are going to paint these narratives. We ain't going to be able to do nothing about that. So the best thing for us to do is just continue doing what we doing, focus on the knowledge and stuff that we want to put out there, focus on the people that we want to gather, and hopefully everything else will take care of itself. As far as these games go, count me out. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids. I see what's going on. Don't want to be a part of the bullshit games. Don't want to be a part of it at all. Like I said, if Jaguars, boyfriend, whatever, Odell, if he wants to do the boxing match, that's what I will sign up for. The boxing match to get him off of YouTube. I will sign up for that ASAP. So if and whoever in the bushes, let these characters know on YouTube, all the time for games is over with. No more lip boxing, right? No more lip boxing for these dudes. If the Knot got a problem with me, tell him to set up the boxing match. If AT2 got a problem with me, tell him to set up the boxing match. If Odell got a problem with me, tell him to set up the boxing match, right? Any of you masculine or acting masculine energies have a problem with me over here on YouTube, right? Sign the contract, set up the boxing match, and loser has to get off YouTube. Right? Loser has to get up off of YouTube. We playing for pages. That's what we playing for. We playing for pages. All right. It's called a boxing match because the ring is a square, thus far representing a box. The gloves that you put on is considered boxing gloves, right? and you're in a boxing ring. The square box. That's the box. Right? But I get what you're saying. I guess if they was hitting each other with boxes, it'd be a boxing match, right? Um, but yeah, that's the only way that we think them trying to attack our character, them talking about us, all of that stuff. That's just another way for them to find out personal information. That's just another way for them to have you jump through loops and put out more personal information, right? The whole, what do you have a girlfriend? Is you married? All of that stuff. These are attacks on your personal. So they're trying to keep you in your personal mind, trying to find out more information about you personally so they can attack you personally. Like, this is not, it's so simple. A caveman can really do it. A caveman can really do it. They thought that we were going to be thirsty enough to pop up on a messy panel yesterday. Why would I want to go back to something that was already took care of a year and some change ago? You think we about to give the knot and she paint the time? What? We already watched the knot and she paint play in people's life, multiple people's lives. We watched the knot and she paint do that. So this is what they get off on. They get off on literally going around creating havoc in other people's lives and then getting back together. She paint sets herself up as a black woman that needs help from this man who's attacking her. And then afterwards they get back together and they laugh about how they set somebody up to help her, and when she really didn't need help, and how this happened, and they got so much content off of it. And y'all are like, that is a crazy relationship. That is an upside down type of relationship. Y'all know we got the recordings of him, saying this, saying this about her daughter and everything like that. But it just goes to show, how much these people want attention. So once we seen she paint and the knot up there doing all of that extra shit yesterday, yeah, count us out. Count us out. We don't want to be a part of that. We not about to make these people relevant again. Let she paint play in the comment section of AT2's page, OKP's page, and Danny Robertson page. But we're not about to walk back into that. That'll be ridiculous. That'll be stupid. And like I said, it was a setup. It was a setup. They try to pop out. And, we would have had to provide more receipts about that. We would have had to rehash that conversation. And with everything going on right now, listen, we know what y'all doing. We just don't want to be a part of it. We keep telling y'all that we don't want to be a part of it. It don't matter if y'all try to send it from this direction, that direction. It don't matter what direction y'all send y'all bullshit. We telling y'all we don't want to be a part of it. And y'all still keep trying to make us a part of it. Y'all don't want to do nothing better. Y'all don't want to talk about nothing better. Y'all don't want to grow in unity or y'all are trying to set people up on y'all pages for bullshit. And you think we was dumb enough to fall for that? I mean, we cool with you, but we ain't that cool with you. We cool with you, but whoever you told that you can pull me into some bullshit, you lied to them. You lied to them. So if you told them that you can get me to your panel, you lied to them. You lied. Right? And that was the setup. You know what I'm saying? The setup, they didn't even respect the fact that yesterday was our birthday. They didn't even care that we had an event going on out here at the camp. They didn't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? It was a setup. And we didn't fall for it. So, we appreciate the offer. But once again, we don't want to be a part of it. We're not trying to go back to something that happened almost 2 years ago and trying to give people another setup. No. Y'all had your chance. Y'all failed. Okay? Y'all failed to stop me. Y'all failed to take my page. Y'all failed to take me down. Y'all failed to paint a false narrative on me. It doesn't matter how many lies you tell. We stand in the light. We've been transparent. We going to keep on doing what we're doing. It don't matter how much bullshit y'all try to set me up for. We gonna keep on ducking it. We gonna keep on dodging it. We're gonna eventually run into the people that want to grow, want to learn, right? If we got to go through 7 negative YouTube groups in order to find that group, that's what we're gonna do. If we got to keep on, overlooking all of this, that's what we're gonna do. The thing that I'm saying is, if anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter. Any of y'all, male or male acting personas, set up the boxing match. Let's stop with the lip boxing. Stop with the back and forth rhetoric. You think somebody want to get on panel and argue with you back and forth? No, let's leave that up to the ladies, right? If you have a problem with me, sign a contract for a boxing match and let's do it. All right. Y'all are operating like this and it doesn't make sense. All of this hiding behind the screen, all of this tough stuff behind the screen. Let's knock it off. If y'all are as Tony the Tiger tough as y'all think y'all are, then y'all should be great in a boxing match. Odell, the Knot, AT2, whoever, whoever. Whoever want to keep on trying to tarnish my name, tarnish my reputation over here, tarnish my image, trying to make me argue about this. Listen, if you ain't trying to do a boxing match, shut up. Don't mention me. AT Titties, if you ain't trying to do a boxing match, don't mention me. Big homie CC, if you ain't trying to do a boxing match, don't mention me. Ronnie Bo, if you ain't trying to do a boxing match, don't mention me. The Knot, if you ain't trying to do a boxing match, don't mention me. Old Dusty, tell Jaguar to sign you up. So Jaguar, if your boyfriend ain't trying to do a boxing match, y'all need to stop mentioning me. All right. Now I can't stop the women from doing it. I can't stop, I can't present that same challenge for the women, but for all these men out there that's trying to say this or say that, let's just do a boxing match. Let's just set up one big YouTube boxing match where we just get it out. Whoever you got a problem with, AT2, you got a problem with the Knot, set up the boxing match. Dusky, you got a problem with me, set up the boxing match. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get one big, nice boxing match event going on, and everybody who got a problem in the black tea sector, get in the ring. Get in the ring. Y'all doing this forever fight on YouTube. Y'all doing this, trying to create these forever beefs so you can, I'll talk about you for the next. Let's do the boxing matches. Let's set it up. Let's do it. We can get some type of boxing promotion to take the event. Some type of boxing promoters will take the event, and we can just set it up. But we know that a lot of y'all are going to opt out. We know that a lot of the Uggs done took effect with your body. We know that your bones is fragile, and we know that y'all pussy. So what's the point of keep on arguing on different platforms with y'all if y'all ain't willing to set up the boxing match? I'll argue on the platform with y'all all day if a boxing contract was signed. If the boxing contract was signed and we was building up the intention, we building up the, promoting the boxing match, then yeah, I'm with that. But with no guarantee of that, it's pointless. It's pointless with no guarantee. I gotta know, do you ever get tired of being a bitch ass nigga? But yeah, we're gonna get to the knowledge and stuff. We don't, the other stuff, let them keep that other stuff, let them keep the bull crap, and we're gonna try to collaborate with other content creators. We're not gonna collab with these messy content creators. They don't even know how to be messy. Like they don't even have no decorum. They don't have nothing. Like it's not no structure in this bullshit. It's no structure in their mess. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm not gonna keep letting these characters benefit off of me and popping up on their page for whatever. Nah. From here on out, we gonna stay selective. If Jaguar wanna come holler at me, she can bring her ass over here and holler at me, or she know where to find me. She know where to find me, huh? She know where to find me. She not gonna like the places that I make her pop up. That's the problem. They want me to pop up in the spaces that they can control. She's not gonna like the spaces that it's mutual where I can get, my conversation out too. She wanna pop up in the places that she can control. I know what's going on. They all got different variations of attack. Y'all failing right now. Y'all failing messy. Y'all failing black T sector. Y'all failing. Y'all was supposed to have me out the way already. Look at us still going. Look at us still having the ability to put knowledge out there. Y'all was supposed to have us out the way. Huh? We were supposed to be out the way already.
The original human DNA pattern is arranged into 12 dimensionalized mathematical programs, each of which set the blueprint for one DNA strand. Each strand is composed of 12 base magnetic female codes or Mayans, and 12 base electrical male acceleration codes or Dions. The 12 base codes and 12 acceleration codes hold the mathematical program for each double helix strand, which combine to form a set of 12 vector codes. One base code plus one acceleration code is equal to one vector code. The 12 vector codes of the human genome manifests as 12 nucleotides that form the nucleotide base pairs which are the entire DNA strands are composed. Due to the NDC, also called the checkerboard mutation unnatural sonic control program installed in the planetary field, only 4 of the vector codes have been active in biological Earth life since the Luciferian Rebellion. The foundations of human DNA is miniaturized crystallized frequency, that is, patterns of electromagnetic light that magnetically group into crystalline form. These multidimensional crystalline templates are referred to as DNA seed codes. The DNA seed code, the template for one DNA strand, is composed of 12 magnetic particle units and 12 electrical antiparticle units. Each DNA strand is composed of the frequency patterns and light spectrum of one-dimensional band. Each DNA strand represents a fire letters code program sequence corresponding to one-dimensional frequency band of consciousness. 24 seed codes equals one DNA strand. The level of frequencies that are accreted into the personal morphogenetic field will determine the level of DNA strand assembly that you possess. As a person pulls in more frequency bands from the dimensional unified fields, the personal frequency accretion level rises, and thus, more DNA codes can assemble and activate.
All right. So if you don't know what that's saying, and remind me every now and again to turn the camera on so that way people won't try to, because they're trying to use like these in-between clause, trying to say that it's duplicated content, trying to make it seem like I'm just playing recordings of stuff. So we have to have the camera on periodically. I didn't know these different variations of things as far as how they were like taking the page. But now that I know YouTube a little bit better, I'm going to, make sure that we stay out of those copyright or those other things that they can use to try to take the page, because we know that they don't want us here, right? So now we're going to occupy this space even more. So if that's not explaining enough, vector codes, DNA codes, all of this stuff plays a big part with your blueprint, with your DNA, what's going on in your mind, so on and everything like that. The metamorphic fields, the breakdown of this into chakras, the missing chromosomes, all of this stuff. And as simple as I can explain it, it goes to consciousness. Not everyone down here is conscious beings. Some people are just doing what keeping up with the Joneses, mimicking human behavior. They're not conscious of it, right? When you have a conscious, you're conscious of your actions. Therefore, when you do something that is of the lower vibration, right? You're conscious that that was of the lower vibration. You're like, you know what? I just operated in my lower half, my lower self. That's not what I wanted to operate in, so on and so forth. So you'll do better, right? A conscious being is not afraid to change. A conscious being is not afraid to do better, right? And consciousness and energy goes with the laws of vibration. This is where frequency comes in. This is where those variations of things come in that you hear me talk about over here a lot, right? This is why I don't want to be stuck in that lower conscious with them. They are trapping people in a lower conscious. Higher conscious opens HSP. We're going to get into all of that, right? Monadic, the monadic conscious. So when we talk about the monadic mind matrix or stuff like that, we're going to get into all of that. Okay, so let's take a listen to conscious is frequency, so that way you can understand when people say frequencies and stuff like that, they're also talking about a variation of consciousness. Sound frequency. It's not just talking about sound, it's talking about consciousness. Okay, so one's in the chat if you guys are liking the information. One's in the chat, because this is the direction that we always was going in. This is the direction that we were always going in. We were always trying to put out the knowledge and the information. So I think they were trying to stop us from focusing on this. We're going to let go all of that stuff and focus on this knowledge. Okay. And if you liking the knowledge, please become a member to the page. Please subscribe to the page. Please come over to the Discord. There's so much more. There's so much in between that I have to go through, break down. I'm going to try to start organizing it better, but there's just so much more knowledge out there. And I think a lot of us have been journeying for it. We're just running across the content creators that's not putting it out there. So we need to start changing our algorithm to run into the the content creators that's putting this knowledge back out there instead of running into these ignorant ones.
It is a natural biological process for all human beings to have the ability to evolve and to expand consciousness, which increases levels of sentience. What is consciousness? Consciousness is energy, and energy is conscious. They are both interchangeable. All energy is intelligent. Our soul and monadic spiritual body is consciousness and therefore intelligent energy. Everything has an energetic signature and is composed of spectrum of frequency arranged in form holding blueprints called morphogenetic fields. Consciousness is frequency. Energy is consciousness, and it either contracts or expands to maintain or increase its frequency rate. The process of how fast or slow energy contracts back towards its center point of source field is the vibration rate. The process of how fast or slow that same energy expands away from the center point of the source field is the oscillation rate. The combination of both the pattern of vibration, contraction, and oscillation, expansion, speed is what determines the frequency rate of all energy and things. As our personal,
If you don't know what that's saying, that's basically telling you about an inhale and an exhale. So if you inhale, it is called the isolation. If you exhale, it is called expansion. So these different variations of things that you're hearing is nothing but breathing in and breathing out. It is a way to contract or expand the consciousness within inside from the center point of one's body outward to the etheric field, so on and so forth. So your consciousness expands outside of your body into your etheric field. Some people might call this astral projecting, astral planing, so on and so forth. But this is when your conscious leaves the body. Hope that makes sense. Give us a second. The page is not responding. This page is not responding. Oh man, that's why sometimes. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. They're trying to block me out of the page. They're trying to block me out of the page. Hello, hello, how are you? Hope all is well. I want to know. I got a question and I really need to know. Do you ever get tired of being bitch ass nigga? Oh. How does guilty conscious come in? That's the lower vibration because your conscious knows when it's doing the lower vibrational things. Your conscious knows when it's acting in its lower self. That's where that guilt comes in, on your conscious.
As our personal, collective, and planetary consciousness raises frequency, the matter world, including our physical bodies, also becomes less dense as our frequency increases. Consciousness energy, law of vibration, consists of and is interconnected, providing a distinct vibratory pattern and is immediately transmitted and received, with no concept of space or time when released into the universe. Consciousness vibration is not limited to time and space. Vast amount of qualities of vibrational frequency exist as an ever-present consciousness layer that exists in the entire universe. Everything in the universe consists of layers of vibrational frequency. If the rate of that vibration falls below or rises above a certain intensity, it becomes immeasurable or invisible to the basic human senses. This means it is beyond the capacity of the 5 basic senses, such as frequency rates outside of the visible light spectrum. That doesn't mean that vibration or frequency doesn't exist because you cannot sense it. The first thing that is important to understand is that all that exists, whether seen or unseen, broken down into its simplest and most basic form of energy, which consists of rate of vibration, and then rate of frequency.
And this is why we say ascension, right? Ascension is the growth of consciousness within inside the body, right? So when you are developing a consciousness and you are, developing your rights, wrongs, traits, whatever you want to call them, character traits, whatever title you're giving them, right? This is what the ascension process is: developing consciousness in ascension studies. So when you're studying different fragments of knowledge that was lost, when you sitting there and you got a yearning for knowledge, and it could be in the form of conspiracy theories, it could be in the form of whatever it is, right? But this is developing your conscious. Developing your conscious comes with a disciplined mind. This is where discernment comes in, all of that stuff. So when you're developing a conscious, or building your conscious, or rising out of that, personal mind into your collective mind, this is a collective consciousness. So when you're ascending past a lot of this stuff, you have to put that personal mind aside, that personal conscious, the ones that's telling you, like, oh, it's the system that's keeping me down, it's white people that's keeping me down, whatever it is that's in your personal mind. When you're rising into your collective mind, you have to let go to things that you are in your personal mind, and that might comes with people, places, and things, right? But this is part of the ascension process. And when you're developing consciousness, that's what is the ascension process. A lot of people make it seem like the ascension process is something tougher than someone working on their self. No, the ascension process has nothing to do with no one else, but is solely working on self, solely trying to, develop a consciousness within inside oneself, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to developing consciousness, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the ascension process. We're talking about chakra systems. I know you guys hear the ascension process a lot, especially the age of Aquarius and the time of ascension and everything like that. But this is what this is developing and growing a conscious, right? Alchemizing, you know, uh, getting connected with the stars and understanding the constellations and how they work and affect the body when they say these planetary logos are aligned, or so on and so forth, right? It is developing a conscious of oneself, all right?
Developing consciousness in ascension study. When we say ascension and we're moving forward in terms of our developing consciousness, in actuality, what we are doing is connecting to our spiritual energetic intelligence and then integrating that intelligence by descending our divinity into our physical bodies. So actually, the ascension is a descension of our spiritual energetic bodies, which is almost in reverse of what we actually think it means. We are ascending in our consciousness, but we actually are descending that intelligent energy, what could be described as our divinity, into the physical vehicle. So, our actual goal in ascension stages is to, with our intention and consent, to participate and connect with higher, more refined vibrating aspects of ourselves. So, when we think of our soul, our monad oversoul, and these aspects of spiritual energetic identity, this is where the understanding of the cosmology of dimensions and dimensional frequency spectrum are brought into conscious awareness. When we understand the color wave spectrum of each dimension and use our chakras as a foundational model, that helps us to understand what the 7 primary chakras function actually are. We can start with those 7 dimensions, of which there is a plane of reality that we as a soul intelligence exist upon or have an aspect of our God's self. We actually have an intelligence and an aspect of ourself in simultaneous time that is existing on that particular plane of reality. So the ascension is literally a descension or collecting of those spiritual energetic fragments, or other identities of ourselves, as we merge them into this moment of self that we're sharing now. We are actually merging with those multidimensional consciousness identities into this local identity, in this moment of self and time. As we move up the consciousness scale, we access higher and more refined levels of our creative intelligence forces and our mind matrix. The process of ascension is liberating our incarnation from the lower form worlds of manifestation, which is what this particular time/space of Earth reality is considered. It is considered the lower form world, and again with no value or judgment, but in terms of understanding that there are lower form worlds, mid-creational realms, and higher creational realms. Here, we are existing within the harmonic universal structure of the Earth that is the densest possible reality and is being controlled. This is as dense as one can experience in a spiritual energetic form. So, ascension is not just another spiritual concept. The term of ascension is used hand in hand with developing consciousness, understanding consciousness as intelligent energy, participation with our soul evolution, the many tiers of the awakening process, becoming soul-infused benevolent and compassionate personalities on Earth. Ascension is also a literal, tangible scientific process of the evolution of consciousness and biology within specific laws and energy mechanics that apply to a multidimensional reality system. 1.
Now, this is why I use terms like we're multi-dimensional beings sharing a human experience, because once you realize that your consciousness is attached to a multi-dimensional reality system, then you realize that the density that we are on, that is this 3D plane, is only 10%, right? So the other 90% is something that is not in the physical world. What you can see is only 10% of what is, always was, and always will be. But if you are rising in consciousness or developing intellectual consciousness by understanding your feelings and emotions, right? Understanding, different variations of dimensions of the brain, you are traveling within these dimensions of your brain, and that is only through a consciousness that you can do that. You can't do that in the form of a physical. You're not taking a trip in the form of a physical. The more people that you can rise in consciousness, the greater you can, the further you can go, the further you can expand, because that's your collective. So the more people that you wake up in your collective consciousness, then you get into your planetary consciousness, and then you go further out. And these are considered the outer spaces, right? So once you start growing in consciousness, a lot of these places that they're saying they going to, the moon, different places like that, you can't really get there because it's a different density there. So therefore, you can only get there with the consciousness, a collective consciousness, right? You're not going to get there, in the physical. In the physical, right? You can only go so far out of this plane of existence because of the density change. It's just like going underwater. When you go underwater, the density level changes. Therefore, the smaller creatures can't survive in the deeper depths of the oceans. There's a different, you know, breed of species that exist in the different depths of the oceans. And even if you look up, you know, uh, internal creatures, eternal creatures, whatever it is, you'll see that there's a lot of ocean creatures, water creatures, or something like that, because a lot of them live up under the water. Somebody on TikTok asked, so what realm is the dreams realm? Okay, so you have a shadow realm that is the dream state, right? So the shadow realm is your dream state, and then you have this reality, and then you also have another particle realm that operates separately on intention. So with the mind, body, and spirit, you have your spiritual realm. The mind connects the physical realm to everything, right? So the three parts of the brain: conscious, subconscious, and then your sleep state. This connects everything to the spirit. This connects everything to the body. Your mind is the tether that connects everything to everything. Your mind is the connection that connects everything to everything. So with the mind, that's where everything is connected. That's why you have to have discipline of the mind, right? Conscious is energy, conscious is frequency, conscious is an intelligent source of its own, and it goes with the laws of vibration. So if you go study the laws of vibration, and the universal laws, then you'll have a greater understanding of what consciousness is. It's a multitude of things.
Discipline mind. Consistent meditation practice is helpful in training an undisciplined and cluttered mind to develop higher consciousness. Meditation can be applied in many different techniques, and is helpful for facilitating forgiveness and letting go of negativity in many forms. In the early stages of developing meditation skill, sit and relax and learn to observe thoughts passing through without having attachment to them. Once you notice the thought pattern, let it go and bring your focus back to the now moment. 2.
So This is where inquiring different variations of beliefs come in to build up that consciousness. So this is why the Bible says that only through Christ could we get to the Father, is because only through this inquirings on our belief system could we get to a knowing system of this level of consciousness, right? The only way to a knowing system is if we go through a belief system, and that's the time of Christ. Christ was in the time of belief. So in order for us to get to the Father, we had to go through a time of believing in the Son, right? So this is that idea of belief system that was created, and religion was also created within this belief system. But now we're in a time of knowing, and it is a knowing system and not a belief system. In the time of Pisces, it was a belief system. But now we're in that mystery 13th, which is the Aquarius sky, which is a knowing system, if that makes sense.
Inquire on beliefs. Motivation influences perception. Perception influences beliefs. Beliefs influence actions. Motivations. Perceptions. Beliefs. Actions. The three major motivation problems to overcome in the Buddhist tradition are greed, anger, and delusion. If these constitute much of your motivation, then your perceptions, beliefs, and actions can be twisted. This is a good model to help with understanding ourselves better as well as the motivation of others around us. Higher consciousness opens HSP. One may not experience true states of love or emotional spectrums until they begin to connect with their soul matrix bodies and develop their higher consciousness intelligence. The soul and monadic connection is what enables the development of higher sensory perception. One cannot develop the higher sensory body, its receivers and transmitters, which allow for the development of telepathy and cellular cognition, without having an open heart and the ability to feel deeply. This all is a result of developing consciousness and is synonymous with the context of ascension study. Monadic consciousness. In the state of monadic integration, the consciousness experience allows for omnipresent observer point, which when connected to the Christos consciousness as one's authority, results in a perpetual state of compassionate witnessing. The law of compassion may only be accessed through the deep practice of compassion in the law of one, which is the direct teaching of the Christ or crystal star. Without the practice of compassion in everyday existence, one's consciousness descends to partial awakening, through means of the intellectual higher mind of the Luciferian consciousness.
No, I'm telling you, through the system that was already here, they created a religion out of it, right? So there was already a spiritual law of one process that was already here, that was called the ascension process, when one realizes that essence within inside the body that is known as Christ or Kratos energy puts together the 12 that are inside the body, which is known as the zodiac symbols or signs of the zodiac. And this 13th, which is the essence of Christ, Eucharistus, it puts together the other 12 symbols of the body. So the spirit of the body, which is Eucharistus, which is the mystery 13th, it puts together the 12. And the story of Christ and the story of the Bible is a reenactment of that secretion within the body that puts together the nervous system and the other 12 functions of the body for the ascension process. So they took that story of what is, was, always will be, and they created a biblical story for a physical walk on it. I'm not saying that it instigated a belief system, or that the belief system of it came before they wrote this book. We're going back to first century, not 16th century, right? A lot of people knowledge only goes back to the 16th century. So you're trying to make it seem like the Bible came before all of this stuff. No, this stuff that I'm telling you came before the Bible. All of this stuff that I'm telling you came before the Bible. They later translated the Bible, just like the people who wrote the Bible studied Shakespeare. Shakespeare had a nice part in writing the Bible. And then when you go to Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, you'll see that a lot of the stuff that those scholars were studying was also related to stuff that they put in the biblical text. Even if you study Constantine and look into the depths of how he tricked the Council of Nicaea, you will see that this information that I am providing is information that was given before the Bible. Now, if you are tending to trust your countrymen of 40,000 years ago in Australia, then you have to remember there was a time when Australia was not even on the map, that did not have Australia. Australia came from a piece of the ice wall, the Arctic wall. And then when that piece of the ice wall broke off and moved in, this is when Australia came into the picture. If you go back to a certain time, Australia was not always on the map. That's why it's known as the land from down under. Look it up. Look it up. Look at the ice wall. It'll show you. Let me see if I got a picture of it. I don't got one on the PC. Look it up. If you go back far enough, you will see I showed many maps. I showed many maps. I can show you 100-year-old map. I can show you 100-year-old map, and it won't have Australia on there. But like I said, go journey for the knowledge yourself. Go look at Pangea. Go look at the map of Pangea. Go look at the map of Pangea. When the continents was closer. Kind of like this one right here. Never mind, you can't see it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's called the land from down under, because this is when they were saying like the volcanoes was erupting in the ocean and creating land masses, and they were trying to say like Australia appeared out of nowhere as if it was formed under the water. So that's why it's called the land from down under, because it was formed like it just popped up out of nowhere, and they were like, oh, okay, the land from down under. Why you think they call it the land from down under? But like I said, take however you want. Take the knowledge take the knowledge that speaks to you, and leave the rest. But I'm not gonna how we can't have that discouragement anymore to make it seem like, you know, the people that you study, knowledge is all you need to know. Because if you go back further than that, you'll see that that it's further knowledge. It's more knowledge than that. But we keep stopping at what we want to know. We keep stopping at, once it's the same reason why they stop, people artificial digs, right? Once they started digging too deep and they started seeing more black features on some of the things that they were pulling out of the dirt, they said stop all artificial digs. It was like they was like, oh snap, we're coming to find out that black people ruled this planet before we had all of this stuff. Oh, stop the knowledge right there. Stop the knowledge where we want to stop the knowledge at, so we can look superior. They don't want to. This is why they lost all the Egyptian knowledge. This is why they lost Sumerian knowledge. This is why the fight for the Library of Alexandria was so important. This is why they destroyed libraries back in the day, so on and so forth. It's because people got mad at the history of this world, the real history of this world, how we came here from the stars, so on and so forth. So y'all got rid of all the Atlantean knowledge, all the knowledge of the Atlanteans and all the knowledge of Lemuria and everything like that. And now all we're stuck with is Aryan knowledge. So now the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan, when they came into the picture, they destroyed all the knowledge that was of the Palladians, the Syrians. Y'all destroyed all of that knowledge when the hateful ass Aryans came in, and then y'all put false knowledge out there, so on and so forth. And now we don't have the real knowledge because of y'all arrogance. We don't have the real knowledge because of y'all y'all afraid of whatever it is. So y'all took out the knowledge of the Palladians. Y'all took out the knowledge of Egypt. Y'all took out the knowledge of Sumerian. Y'all took out the knowledge of the Atlantic cataclysm. Y'all took out the knowledge, all of this stuff. Y'all took it out. And now when y'all hear people talking about that knowledge, y'all say, oh, we don't care about that knowledge. We only care about the knowledge that stops at this point. Right? That's the stuff that y'all say because y'all know that y'all people or y'all ancestors played a part in taking out vast knowledge. You know that the Vatican played a part in hiding over 3 million books, over 300 seeds that's not in circulation, right? So when you go back past the Gregorian calendar, this is why a lot of y'all don't want to go past the Gregorian calendar. This is why y'all stop. And after a certain point, y'all consider that information poppycock. That's why when y'all hear people talking about the Druids and alchemy, this is why y'all get so afraid and say blasphemous. This is why y'all sit there and run, because y'all know that knowledge is being put back into circulation. Y'all know that knowledge is coming back to the people. Y'all know that knowledge is being given back to the people. So when y'all hear us talk about this old knowledge, this old magic, this old history, right? Y'all make it seem like, oh, I just believe what was said 400,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. But if history exists before then, why are you not studying the history that existed before then? Why are you stopping at a certain point in history and saying that's all I want to know right there? That's all I need to know right there, right? You don't want to get into the galactic wars. You don't want to get into the Druids, the Orion wars, stuff like that, right? You just want to say, you know the knowledge to a certain point that benefits your people, and that's it. The knowledge beyond that point don't benefit your people. So you don't want to learn the knowledge that don't benefit your people. But when you come across pages that know the knowledge that existed before then, you try to stop them or discourage other people from going to them. Make that make sense. Make that make sense, that because your knowledge stops at a certain point, you stop people who ancestral knowledge go past that point. My ancestral knowledge goes past 4,000 years. And it's funny that when you look at the 4,000 year marker, it was the 4,000 years of slavery. So when someone says that they don't want to go past that 4,000 year marker, I already know what type of person you are. When someone says that they don't care about nothing past the 4,000 year marker, you're telling on yourself. That's why, I allow bygones to be bygones and I allow people to be people. Because if you are coming into this space and you want to have a closed off mind and you sit here with that closed off mind and you try to encourage other people in this space to close their mind, this ain't the space for you. Just because your mind is closed off at a certain point doesn't give you the right to close off everybody else's mind at that point also. Some of us have been here for eons, waiting for this ascension process, waiting for that time to come to awaken something within inside our vessel that is going to change the course of mankind. Some of us have been waiting for this. We know that it is our sole purpose to put this knowledge back in circulation. And at this point, I'm tired of anyone who is not allowing or stopping me from putting this knowledge back in circulation. Right? So if you're coming in the comment section with discouragement, keep it to yourself. If you coming in the comment section to try to make it seem like your people is the only people that know, at a time white didn't even exist. So your brain and your DNA codes cannot go as far back as mine. I want you to understand that. I need everyone to understand that. Some of y'all are young in this galaxy. Some vessels are young in this galaxy. But some of us been here for a long time. Reincarnating, waiting for this Aquarius sky, waiting for the ascension process. So now that the time is here that we've been waiting for and our ancestors died for, we be damned if we allow y'all to stop us from this knowledge again. We be damned if we allow y'all to stop us from putting this knowledge back into circulation again. So if you don't want the knowledge, if you don't need the knowledge, if this is not for you, you know where the exit is at. You know how to leave the channel. You know how to go to a different page. But stop discouraging other people from getting the knowledge that belongs to them. Stop encouraging other people that's getting the knowledge. Just because the knowledge is not for you doesn't mean that doesn't mean you get the right to take it out of circulation. Doesn't mean you get the right to tell people not to learn it. Just because y'all scared of what might happen or what we might do with the knowledge when we are aligning our body and alchemizing and getting ourselves back into the proper operation, just because you're fearful of the copper colored people's possibilities, you keep on denying this knowledge. I'm not talking to you. I don't know you. I don't even know who you are. You got to get out your personal mind, man. You're in your personal mind. How am I talking to you? I'm on TikTok and YouTube. How am I talking to you? What do you mean good? Are you talking to me good? What do you mean good? What is that? What is that supposed to mean? What is that good supposed to mean? Is that supposed to mean like, oh yeah, you better not be? What is that supposed to mean? No, that's on YouTube. I'm not talking to nobody individually. I don't know you individually to you know to you know to say whatever it is that you and unless you're one of the people going around denying people from knowledge, then yeah, I guess I am talking to you if you one of those people that's denying people of knowledge. If you one of the people that's denying people from knowledge, then I guess I am talking to you. The mechanics behind creation, spiritual science, how consciousness moves through a time and space matrix. Energy is consciousness, consciousness is energy. Timelines and dimension planes are the same. Skipping forward in time as we change the focus on our consciousness, humanity is moving to another reality, dimensions, or time during this 2012 cycle. Ascension cycle every 556 years aligned to galactic core. 3D planet Earth intergalactic off-planet frequency cycle in 2008, 1987 through 2007 planetary cycle, 7 planes. How am I angry at you? How do I seem to be angry at you and I'm not talking to you? How would I? Eight people in this room, couple people in the other room, but you're personalizing it. people on TikTok, people on YouTube, but you're personalizing it. Okay. Okay. And it's me. It's me. Um, yeah, I know. I plan on moving on. I plan on moving on. I don't know why you keep on trying to type in the comment section as if you're controlling the narrative of this. If I wanted to stay on the topic, I can stay on the topic. I'm trying to move on, but you keep on trying to, you know, have some level of dictatorship over here. So tell me what my next move is. So here's a picture of the galactic plane. Here's a picture of how this is duality, right? You have the golden gate and the silver gate. We're moving towards this golden gate right here. This is why you don't see when you see the crescent moon and the sun, this is why you see it upside down now instead of like on the side with the star next to it. You'll see the crescent is coming in upside down because we're moving in our galaxy. We're moving in the galactic plane. So we're moving towards the galactic center, if you would say. This is the fifth dimensional Earth that we're moving into. The Mayans told us this time would come. They prepared us for this. We might not remember it, but the Mayans prepared us for this. If you look at this one, this is a better picture right here. This shows you our galaxy right here. This is what you see over here, and then the galactic center. So we're moving towards the galactic center. So instead of going to the silver light, which is the moon, we're moving towards the sun, which is the golden gate. So we're moving towards that golden gate, moving towards that. It's a high vibrational frequency there. You're going to, you know, we already went through the 12 uh astrological ages. We're in the 13th now, which is the Aquarius astrological age. We already went through the 12 lunar cycles.
Refers to the precession of Earth's axis of rotation with respect to inertial space. The Golden Gate.
All right. I gotta charge my phone. I gotta charge my phone. Come over to
Gate.
so this is basically telling you like us moving towards the Golden Gate, so on and so forth. The Mayans depicted this. If you go look at the Mayans calendar looked just like our galaxy, which is ironic that the calendar is not a calendar at all, but a picture of our galaxy. If you notice, the Mayans calendar has the zodiac signs, and then it has the cycle within it, and then it has the 13th lunar cycle, so on and so forth. If you go back and look at the Mayans calendar, it's not a calendar. It looks just like this. The Mayans calendar looks just like this. It's not a calendar. It is a map of the galaxy, and it's telling you within the 13th lunar cycle, time will change as we know it. They thought it was marking the end of time. It was the end of time as they know it. All right. So now we are going through this spiritual awakening, awakening your Kundalini. Let's listen to this part, and then we'll discuss this part afterwards too.
Ascension, also known as spiritual awakening, is a simultaneous increase of expanding consciousness that occurs when our spiritual energetic bodies connect into our physical bodies. Generally, the catalyst for spiritual awakening is discovered through the process of progressive Kundalini activation that starts in the base of our spine and moves the intelligent energies up the spine and into the crown. As a human being undergoes the awakening process, which can progress gradually over many years, that person shifts into perceptions of higher consciousness, which can include increased awareness of energy in the environment, perceiving multidimensional realities, sensing extradimensional entities, and feeling a direct communion with God and the interconnected energy that exists between all things. Ascension is a change in spectrum of frequency through Kundalini awakening and a change in the focus of our consciousness. Ascension is about moving our consciousness from one reality to another. Since reality is a dimension, what we are undertaking is essentially a full dimensional shift. To go through this shift, we must adjust our way of thinking and being to that which is in alignment with our soul purpose and true divine essence. Ascension is the complex quantum mechanics governing the movement of consciousness through time and space. Consciousness is energy, as well as energy is intelligent consciousness. When energy shifts, so does our consciousness. Time and space as we have known on planet Earth is changing, and we are moving into a future timeline. Through gradual exposure to frequency activation of various stellar bodies, the planet is transformed into higher dimensional and frequency planes of existence. One can consider the multidimensional model of our reality through the study of the universal time matrix and the universal tree of life. The shift of frequency forces all of the planetary inhabitants to shift into the newly exposed planetary frequencies and adapt to the accumulative impact of the shifting energies. All humans have a unique blueprint and pace to keep aligned with the planetary frequencies. Some will adapt to these frequencies while embodied on planet, while others may not. The choice lies with each of us and is directly our responsibility. We can participate or not with our personal evolution process. All that is required from the ascension process is participation at the level you are able, and that attention and focus is placed.
So, if you don't know what that's saying, basically it's saying that, during this ascension process, spectrums of frequency, Kundalini awakening, some people will experience this down here where they will have a Kundalini awakening. Not everybody's going to experience this down here. So, not in the body, like some people are not going to experience it down here in the body, but some people are going to embody this Kundalini awakening. That's why I keep on saying, hey, listen, everybody might not be, coming into this Kundalini awakening, right? But for the ones that are coming into it, allow us to come into this awakening. Allow us to rise above the carnal nature. Allow it, because it's taking place with our vessel. It's not taking place with your vessel. It's taking place in my body. So why do you think you get to disturb ascension process that's taking place inside my body? Why do you think that you get to mess up the Kundalini rising that's taking place inside my body? Is it jealousy? Is it because it's not happening with your body? Is it because you're upset because, oh, why is my Kundalini not rising? Why is my my DNA not awakening? Why am I not going through this process? So a lot of people that's not going through this process is literally, a lot of people that's not going through this process is literally jealous of the ones who are going through this process. So they sitting there trying to destiny swap with us, trying to sit there and make it, put all of these falsities on us so they can pretend to be the one that's going through this Kundalini rising. They want to be the ones to pretend like they're divine, like they're going through something. You know what I mean? I gotta know, do you ever get tired of being? Nope, don't want to be a part of none of those panels that's not talking about knowledge and wisdom. I gotta stay away from all of these fake pages. Need to be on the pages that only put knowledge and wisdom back. How do you fight what? Oh, you're asking. So, yeah, during this time of ascension, you're going to find out your soul purpose, your true divine essence. I think a lot of people might be fighting against their true divine essence, um, so on and so forth, because maybe they are of a low vibrational nature. Maybe they are wicked and don't want to accept the fact that they are wicked. Maybe they are a low vibrational being, or in this time came in the form of a low vibrational being. So, these are some things that you want to remember: love, peace, unity, diamond body, sovereignty. Um, you're solving within your mind. You're because you're a sovereign citizen within the brain, not, down here, you're still going to have to go through whatever it is that you go through down here. It's a human experience, but you are free in the mind. Now, this goes with that inner Kratos. So you have to understand connecting directly with God and Christ, right? This is the understanding that one would need to have, right?
The inner Christos is the personal divine blueprint of the eternal God source consciousness energy from which all things are manifest and made into being. The law of one is the law governing the eternal divine blueprint and consciousness energy of the inner Christos, thus they are interchangeable. To develop the inner Christos eternal blueprint, we must align and follow the principles of the natural laws, the law of one. The law of one is based in the true knowing of our highest expression, that our direct relationship with God's source is love, and this pure consciousness is
Yeah,
expressed through our
that's
inner
like in
Christos
the film
honoring
The
God's spirit.
Matrix.
The ancient knowledge of the inner Christos that resides within our original divine blueprint belongs to all people, regardless of their religious affiliation or belief system. This ancient spiritual wisdom of the philosophies of the law of one was common knowledge to all of humanity until the Luciferian rebellion. This is when the planet was returned back to the Dark Ages at the end of the Atlantean cataclysm, when all of the original spiritual teachings of the inner Christos were eliminated and falsified. 1.
So this goes back to crystallization. This goes back to the crystals that is inside the body. This goes back to as above, so below, as without, so within. It goes back to all of that. All of this stuff plays a factor in all of that. It all plays a factor. All of it. But this is why I say, like, one has to be willing to want to raise their consciousness, get this knowledge. You might be getting it in a different way. You might be getting this knowledge came to me through the light of Lyra. Like, I don't know if anyone else is getting this knowledge through the light of Lyra, or whatever, but this is what came to me through the light of Lyra when the Lucifer comet entered back into the Lyra constellations, so on and so forth. I'm not sure. There was a time where that umbilical cord stayed connected until it fell off on its own. Like, you would keep that umbilical cord connected until it fell off on its own. Now they cut the cord, but that's neither here nor there. So through this house or the cradle of Lyra, I was able to achieve different variations of information. I know that I am a star seed from the Lyran constellations. This goes back to the Lyran in Vegas. This is the Galactic Wars. A lot of y'all might not even be getting fragments of this war. Universal 12 gate destruction, the fall of Anubaru and Tamit. If you might have studied Zachariah Stitchins or looked into Zachariah Stitchins, then you know what this is talking about right here. Um,
The Lyran War timeline holds the cellular memory of the collective shadow bodies and all of the fragmentation and disintegration that occurred during the destruction of the 12th Lyran Universal Stargate. As a result of the destruction of the 12D Universal Stargate, the planets Nibiru and Tiamat were partially exploded and then captured and forced into inorganic orbits around the Sun, which removed them from their capstone nodus position in the Universal Tree of Life or Cathra grid. Nibiru and Tiamat's planetary crystal core were connected to the twin suns of the universal Elasa Melchizedek logos, through the cradle of Lyra in the triple stars of Arimatina, Avion, and Vega, which were universal gates that led out of the time matrix. The universal 12th gate of Arimatina was once the 12D capstone for pre-fall Nibiru, which held the nirvanic mind frequency bands of the solar logos. When Arimatina was destroyed, it allowed for the easy capture of Nibiru, which became outfitted by the invaders as a battle star. Many of the founders with organic emerald sun DNA body parts that functioned as capstones for supporting the lower dimensions, which include the sapphire architecture of the 10th gate Holy Mother as the Tiamat logos, were made vulnerable.
So this is why you need to get into planetary logos, so on and so forth, because these things was affected way before, anything down here, anything in the physical world changed. These things was affected in the cosmos first. That's probably why the Bible says the battle's not yours, it's the Lord's, because this is something that took place in the cosmos. It's not nothing that took place down here. The changing of our DNA, the rearranging of our DNA, that's took place in the cosmos. This is why I say, like, one has to learn more, like want to learn more down here. Avion, this is what made me so mad about the whole Beverly and Jaguar thing. When I seen them doing that false DNA test for spiritual, and they were trying to make it seem like, they can test the spirit of somebody, the DNA, and oh, you got Atlantean blood in you and all of that shit. It just infuriated me when I seen Beverly, doing that. Oh, big homie CC spiritual DNA test, Jaguar Right spiritual DNA test. Said this is bullshit.
The Avala constellation is a 9-sun-star constellation, accessed behind the Pegasus constellation in Lyra. From the Great Square of Pegasus, move slightly northeast to locate Vega and the Lyra constellation. Avala was connected by the Albion Lightbody during the cosmic energy cycle openings during December of 2022, as the Elasa Melchizedek twin suns appeared to highlight the parallel Eco-Usha matrix, where the 22D, 23D, and 24D threefold sapphire ruby emerald crystal diamond eye of God was revealed. As these solar Risharishi founders were accessing these layers from the 24D Elasian and 24D Melchizedek reconnections to that eye of God, they ventured upon King Arthur's star body, which appeared as Earth's body inside the solar logos, feeling to be in the parallels of Eco-Usha matrix matters in the universal time matrix parallels. This appeared to reveal Guardian Host founders to see or feel the Avala star constellation, and to have that access from the merging and hierogamic union of the Elasa Melchizedek suns happening at that time. See Elasa Melchizedek Cosmic Sons of Creation 4.
So this is like the knowledge that was taken. We're putting some of this knowledge back. Rainbow watchtowers, all of this stuff, Albion's. You the names that you hear when it talks about, like, King Arthur, stuff like that. That's the duality that they use down here to tell these stories or trick us about these stories. So when you see like the Knights of the Round Table, the Holy Grail, King Arthur's Holy Grail, all of this stuff, these were the tables was inside the body. These things that depicted later as a storyline to tell us. But the Knights Templar, the Holy Grail, all of this stuff was reenacted stories about the ruby sun DNA and how it awakens, embodies the 10th strand, so on and so forth. They just gave it to us in the story of King Arthur.
King Arthur was embodied in a 10-strand ruby sun DNA body which was designed to help restore the female Sophionic sapphire codes in the solar star chakra, which exists about 6 inches above the crown. This diamond sun light body part was damaged on the planet during Nephilim hybridization and when draconian essences are incarnated into the human body. The solar star is held by the female crystal heart rose staff codes and are responsible for receiving communication directly from our Christos avatar self. King Arthur's embodiment returned the sapphire solar star communication with our avatar and supported the return of the corrected universal human 5-star Adam Diamond Sun template back into the Albion light body after the Sumerian Egyptian invasion. 6. The Grail line of the Ruby Sun DNA are also referred to as indigo children and hold a hybrid Diamond Sun DNA template that is the result of hybridization made between the Nephilim and Elohim genetics. Representatives of the Guardian host, such as King Arthur and his Templar team, as well as Guardian Akhenaten, chose to embody in a Ruby Sun DNA template when they came to the Earth in order to help reclaim and restore the fire letters and time vector codes that were stolen from the Grail line specifically. The DNA template was hijacked, in which its coding was used to engineer the 911 timelines, based upon the hijack of 9D and 11D Diamond Sun DNA coding inherent in the Ruby Sun DNA template. The remaining pure lineages of the Ruby Sun DNA imprint exist on the Earth and off-planet, to which they are in alignment with the cosmic sovereign law of one. In service to others' potential evolution to be able to choose spiritual freedom for themselves, and to be released from reincarnation into the AI timelines in the lower densities. 7.
So that's one of the ways of saying like the information is being put down, like because he who is able to take the the sword from the stone will embody the King Arthur Grail, right? So that's what that story was, right? The embodiment of the King Arthur Holy Grail, so on and so forth. And they told us that in the story of like King, right? But here was some other stories that you might have heard. Starseed Kratos mission. So when people talk about hash I can't read the names, but you see them that's on there. I always have a hard time pronouncing them, right? So the fall of Lyra took place, so on and so forth. You see the fourth dimension, the green, which is the astral plane. This is the false ascension matrix, right? So they're trapping people in the astral plane, making them think that they ascended to the higher planes, but really they're trapped in the astral planes. So the false matrix is to trap you here. This is the original matrix. You see all the colors in the original matrix, the spectrums of light that's in the original matrix, and then this is based off of a 12 tribe, right? But they took out 2 of them and they created a 10D base distortion matrix. And this is the one that they try to trap us in, the cabal, right? You notice the difference in this breakdown of the DNA, and then this one. You see this one? This is this one in the gray right here. This is the cabal. This is the false one, right? But the true one is aligned like this. This one holds 10 dimensions. This one holds 12 and beyond, right? The original timeline and the AI timeline. So a lot of people are still trapped in this AI timeline, right? To where as though like I'm trying to get people to break out of this phantom matrix and enter into the true timeline of this world, right? The true timeline. All timelines are laid on top of each other right now. The problem is stepping into this, you run across a lot of people that are demonic. You run across a lot of these low vibrational beings down here. And when you run across these low vibrational beings, their job is not to try to ascend. Their job is to make you look like a false light or make you look false or transfer, some type of like destiny swap with you, basically. And that's what you're watching a lot of them do, right? And they get into these stories of different things, but they don't want to tell you the story of this, right? And let's get into this. Jesus Christ is a Sierran blue human. Now let's read this, right? The man called Jesus Christ. Okay, y'all want to get into this? And then we're going to get into Yehoshua Ascend manuscripts. Okay. So when you're talking about Jesus and you're talking about Yehoshua, this is the information that they don't want you to know. But we're going to bring it to you because that's what we do. We show you the facts and merits behind the stuff that we're talking about. Yes, I can see your comments. I'm pretty sure everybody can see your comments. I know Zachariah Stitchens got some stuff wrong. One of the main things that Zachariah Stitchens got wrong was that they was not trying to get the gold from this planet. They were trying to get the gold with inside the body, which is the secret of they were trying to turn something inside the body into a gold. So when he started talking about, they was harvesting gold and stuff like that, it wasn't that. It was something inside the body that they actually wanted in order to save their planet Anubaru. But there was a lot of other small things that Zachariah Stitchens got wrong too.
The man called Jesus. Jesus Christ
Yes,
was a
they was
Syrian blue
harvesting
human from the
humans,
future
right?
that came to change the third dimensional
They didn't
timelines
want
and
gold.
scenes,
They was
crystal
harvesting
temples,
humans.
and law of one ascension
But the
knowledge
gold
with
was in the
consciousness
human.
technology back to planet Earth.
Well, the gold that they really
This
wanted.
mission was in response to the DNA damage the planet and humanity had most recently suffered after the Luciferian rebellion, and then after the Sumerian Egypt invasion, which was the final destruction of the Mother Staff principle in the Earth core. His group mission under the direction of the High Lyran Syrian Council was to work with the future Earth 5D Terra multidimensional Templar crew called the Azurites, organized by the RA Confederacy. As a team they were working with repairing the planetary architecture, doing soul retrieval from the Lemurian Holocaust and Atlantean Cataclysm, preparing the ley lines, planetary grid network and planetary gates to help align for the ending ascension cycle in 2012. Guardian Yeshua came to the Earth plane with his genetic equal wife, Mary Magdalene Sophia, holding the staff and with a large Syrian ground crew. Underground portals were used for Egypt Melchizedek initiations for ascension out of stargates, as well as in Amarna where Akhenaten had left information for them in the area. The Amarna portal was access to Hyde Law of One and Guardian founder races technology in Ireland and the United Kingdom. The mission was partially successful. They could not recover Blue Ray staff and Mother Principal Force for the Earth core. The 5D Blue Flame staff alignment was destroyed in the Stonehenge DNA fire letters code scrambling. That was a result of the Sumerian Egypt invasion. Yeshua was not crucified and ascended out with Guardian support. The group was partially successful in their mission, and many other Christos consciousness family have been on the Earth since then to prepare for the return of the crystal star on the Earth. The crystal star returned with the planetary hosting change in January 2013. 2. See the Ages of Humanity.
So you see what I'm saying? Exactly. This is why I keep on saying that I don't want to participate in all the hate, all of this weird shit. They keep on trying to make it seem like, oh, she was doing this because she like you. No, she could be doing this because she's part of one of these groups that's trying to stop information from getting put out there. And y'all are allowing her feelings and emotions to block y'all from seeing the truth. That's not on us. If someone else stops them from seeing the truth of things, that's not on us to sit there and live in their lie, live in their false matrix. You know? If they don't want to live in the real, reality of this world, then I'm not gonna keep on trying to hide. Like, oh no, this person they like me. This nah. We grown, we adults, we know how stuff works, right? So this goes back to the Vatican City, certain variations of historic timelines and events, and the Black Madonna network. Okay. So this is why I say, like, it's greater to have this information than not have it and need it, right? This goes into all of that. Everything that I'm talking about, you will see in this world. Now, when it gets to the elite pedophilia network, tell me this is not taking place right now. Listen to this and then tell me whether or not you think this might be taking place at this particular time.
The Dark Mother Gestalt forms itself into a complex field on the planet called the Black Madonna Network, which is held together by the Vatican's control over lunar female demonic forces in the 5D Gate. The epicenter of the Black Madonna Network is the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which includes Austria, Hungary, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Croatia, Czech Republic, Italy, Poland, and Romania. Many of the patriarchal systems put in place by the Satanics, such as in the Vatican, have the hidden feature of females being placed into spiritual positions of power to represent the Dark Mother pillars in the covert operations of managing that organizational structure. This helps to explain the horror of why so many females in the Catholic religion worldwide, such as nuns, have acted in unimaginably cruel and brutal ways towards unwed mothers and children placed in their care. Many Catholic convents across the globe were used as fronts for child trafficking and pedophilia rings. This is why, in order to gain full access to siphon the planetary consciousness energies, as well as human souls, they have set up global misogyny and sexual misery programs, including pedophilia, to get rid of the Divine Mother principle entirely. We all want and need our real mother, our true God parent. These entropic systems were put in place within the controller pillars of society to form the death culture. The mainstreaming of Satanism, to hijack all aspects of the female consciousness and access spiritual gateways inside her consciousness body. The Church of Rome and Vatican City are the primary example of this aberration. 6. Elite pedophilia networks. For the first time, the solar rishi are able to look at the complex infrastructure of the lunar female demonic forces that have been co-created with the lunar matrix and built into the elite pedophilia networks for global human trafficking and child sacrifice. This includes the extensive NAA infestations within the grid networks located in Washington, D.C., London, and Vatican City, which are used as spiritual ritual centers and more lush harvesting. It appears the solar rishi have set their sights upon cleaning up the Vatican complex, as it is a cesspool of satanic creatures, alien infiltration, and demonic parasites, used for trapping souls and powering up the lunar forces of Dark Mother onto the planet. 7. The Vatican and their armies have played a major role in the proliferation of global child trafficking and the pedophilia epidemic. High-ranking Satanists oversee an assortment of international banking and criminal activities, making them the wealthiest organization on the earth. The grotesque amount of this stolen and accumulated wealth remains largely unknown in its accurate scope. The Vatican's legal status as a sovereign nation with protected borders has made this wealth largely unaccounted for and tax-free. However, it is known that the Catholic Church is the biggest financial power, wealth accumulator, and property owner in existence on the entire planet.
Hmm. 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 So this is the Celtics and basically stuff that they're playing a big game on us. A lot of people might not recognize it. A lot of people might not see it, but a big game is being played on us. And I just wish more people will wake up and realize it. But I guess everything ain't for everybody in this sense. So I got to take the small collective that I'm getting. I got to take the small collective and we got to do big things. This is why they're not attacking me, but they're attacking my supporters. This is why they're going after people who they think is supporting me. This is why they're going after anyone who they think might be supplying finances to get this project off the ground or anything like that. Yes, I can see your comments. Yes, I can see your comment. Yes. Would you like me to tag it? Would you like me to put it on a screen for you? Here you go. Here you go. There you go. We can see your comments. Yes. I don't see no other comment put in there besides that. Some artists, okay, here you go. Some artists do tell stories that they knew what was coming. Like in the Matrix, I responded to that. That's why they want to cut the cord straight away. It's run by those guys. How could we join and reverse their attack? Now, when it comes to reversing their attacks, it's simple. Like the same way they built the networks that's tearing us down, we can build the networks that build people up. But we're not building that network because they got y'all discouraged from joining the Discord. They got y'all discouraged from coming over to the Discord and being a part of it. They got y'all scared to type in the comment section, so on and so forth. So, because of that right there, a lot of y'all are not going to help build a network to do it. A lot of y'all are not going to try to build a network to see past a lot of this stuff. So that's why I continue to do what I do. Because I know everything ain't for everybody, and everybody's not going to want to be a part of something great like this. Especially, oh no, I don't want to say nothing in his comment section because then Danny Robinson might do a live about me. I don't want to say nothing in his comment section because then V Goddess might do a live about me. I don't want to say nothing in his comment section because, oh, I get it. I get it. So that's what they did. They tricked y'all into stop supporting me. They tricked y'all into, stop trying to come over here. They tricked y'all. They didn't trick me. I still got to put this knowledge out there. I still got to, sit here and go through this and try to get it back into circulation or put it back out there somehow, some way. I got to do that regardless of how many Goldens come along and try to manipulate, regardless of how many Imanis come along and try to manipulate. They all played that game so they can have a story to tell and some storyline of this or that so they can go create some type of image. That's on them. You'll see where they pop up next, whether it be Lady Letitia's panel. They're going to show what their true motive was. They're going to show you what their true motive was. And it didn't have nothing to do with me or growing with what I was doing or nothing. It was all a game. It was all a gimmick. Right? So that's why I say, like pay attention. That's why Golden was saying stuff about a goat fence. I never was having a conversation with Golden about a goat fence. I was having a conversation with Imani about a goat fence. So how do Golden know that Imani was promising certain funds for a goat fence on the back end, right? Which it doesn't really matter because we had some stuff come in from TikTok and a couple of other supporters or whatever. But that was a game that Golden and Imani was playing. And they knew they both was playing some fucked up ass game because both of them knew each other's information. One of them knew that one was promising this and promising that. One of them knew that the other one was lying about this and lying about that. And that's why you seen the operation that you seen where they were playing this. Oh, we're the closest thing to Atlas. We're the last ones left of the Atlas network or whatever. And then they're going to fight all of these weird battles online in the name of us. No, when we're still around. It was a reason why they didn't want me to go over to Maggie's panel. Is because they wanted to be the person, or they wanted to be the face that pop up and represent us. It was a reason why she kept on doing fake support, because she wanted to be the one that was tied to us to make it seem like she was a part of this network and we did her so wrong and so on and so forth. But she kept on doing the bullshit. She kept on waiting until I was live and text me while I'm live, or call, like, doing weird stuff like that, knowing that I'm live. You're typing in the comment section and typing on the back end, but you don't want to be called out for the bullshit. This is why I said, like, they truly didn't support the knowledge and stuff that I was putting out there. And I want the people that support this knowledge that I'm putting out there around me. That's who I want. I don't want the people around me that keeps on trying to get me to go into YouTube fights and battles and shit like that. No, you're trying to keep me in that lower vibrational self.
The name and signature of the Vatican is based upon the Etruscan civilization's goddess of the underworld, Ithaca. The word Vaticanus means dragon in the Etruscan language. The Etruscans settled in a region of northern Italy known as Etruria, before the rise of Rome and the Church of Rome was established. Thus, the 5D Stargate area of the Vatican was claimed by the Black Suns during the process of infiltration and invasion, as previously this was an important area of Mother of Dragons and goddess worship of the Celtic Church. Thus, many of us will live to witness the destruction of the power behind the Vatican as the great impostor of the Mother's holiest of holies, and know of the fall of Rome during this disclosure phase. The Vatican is built upon centuries of goddess worship, which has historically acted as the proxy for the Black Sun and invading groups for hiding their mass crimes against humanity, such as global human trafficking and child sacrifice. 8.
So y'all acting like y'all don't see that type of stuff in the world right now. But like I said, we're going to keep on pushing knowledge out there, pushing this info out there. We're going to keep on moving forward towards that of which is, always was, and always will be. Remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. Don't let nobody tell you you're not great, And let me put on a song for us. And nobody told y'all that they love you today. Let me be the first but not the last to tell you that I love you. And, replay gang, do your thing. For those who are listening to try to say, oh, I talked about this person, I talked about that person. You have to listen to the whole thing in order to hear me talk about this person or that person. You have to sit here and wait for the pieces that I talked about somebody. So therefore, your conscious is still getting a little bit of this knowledge that I'm putting out there. Even though you're sitting there waiting to see who it is that I'm talking about or bringing up or whatever the case may be, guess what? You still got to listen to this knowledge. Tricked y'all again. So now y'all coming over here to see if I bring up a name or see if I talk about this person, and you still got to listen through the knowledge. Tricked you again. A lot of shit we do gonna have consequences.
You gotta be ready for them. Emergency, I got a surgery.
I did some shit in my past and it's cursing me. I'm sipping his head and he just came, but it ain't over. My little nigga going against the grain and that's just stressing me. I pray to God that God have mercy. I'm living a crazy life. I just shot at a nigga for talking some shit on the game. He paid the price. He saved my life. If you want to lick shit, we can get ripped shit. We can get paid tonight. You kill a nigga, you don't know it. You gon' go to heaven. Like my demons. Put me against these things. Fight my demons. Fighting my Me against these demons. Whoa, I'm fighting these demons up in this ghost. I'm fighting these demons up in the rope. I hitting the beam. You're hitting the spleen. That money be green. I'm looking so clean. I remember they laughed at me. Gave them the ball. No code. My niggas follow me like the Pope. Genesis. Don't give a fuck about bystander. Atlanta. Don't take no slander. Don't take no slander. Everybody want the money, but don't want to go down, down, down. 187. You killed the. You don't know if you gon' go to heaven. Fight my demons, fight my demons. So many demons. Me against these demons. Against these demons. Fight my demons. Fighting my. Me against these demons. Living life encased in the idea that my evil thoughts go unpunished. Fight my demons. I sort through the rubbish, my days of thugging get slow and rugged. Idolize the husbands who control the public. Fight my demons, fight my demons. Bullets in abundance, anticipate what I know is coming. All of a sudden, my past is blurry, my future is sudden.